meeting to order. If you would please rise and join me in saluting the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I apologize for my voice, but the flu bug going around has struck my house, or at least it struck me, so I still got it in my throat. I'm not contagious, but I still got that frog. They say keep it for at least a month. Tonight, we'd like to honor the life of Jerry Percy Gary of Greensboro, who passed away on December the 30th at the age of 77. I'm sure all of you knew Mr. Jerry. He was an educator for many, many years, and he just served the town of Greensboro with distinction as both mayor and commissioner. And his dedication, leadership, and commitment to the community will leave a lasting legacy. We extend our deepest condolences to the family, friends, and all who knew him. And the town did make a donation to one of the charities that he had listed in his obituary in his honor. So, if you didn't get a chance to go to the service, at least keep him in your thoughts. All right. So moving forward, we will start off with the sidewalk ordinance, which is 26-0-1. Ms. Cindy.
So this was an ordinance that was requested by the mayor for us to take a look at. We noticed that there was a lot of sidewalks in the town that had issues with being cracked or roots from trees, shrubs, grass growing in it, and so we took a look and we didn't really have anything to address that, so this addresses those concerns. We brought forth this back in October, but felt it needed to have everyone take a look at it and offer an opinion. So that's why it's here at the workshop, is to read over it and maybe clean it up a little bit. That's where we're at.
Could I just add also that the ordinance that you received in your packet, it doesn't indicate the additional language to the current section of code, but the language that's new begins at 13-7.
Okay.
My understanding was that back when they did the sidewalks, every homeowner that had a sidewalk had to pay $80-some thing. They were responsible for maintaining their sidewalk. Now, cracks, type of things, I think that we should be, but maintaining grass, those type of things were always, sidewalks were cleared during snowstorms. That was just the general consensus of everybody, so.
We do have something in the town code about clearing sidewalks after snow, but this was something a little bit more detailed.
Right.
That we want to bring forward. I did ask Brandon to attend tonight's meeting because a lot of this falls under his privy.
I know we've had an issue with the sidewalks, like trees overhanging and things, and people not letting us.
Well, that's the other portion. There is nothing in our codes, or we don't have any ordinances or resolutions that indicate that we can trim trees that are dangling down on the sidewalk, only on the roadway.
Right.
So, in an effort to make sure that we get this passed and get everything clear, can we walk through each item? I know it might take a little bit of time. We don't even have to read it, but at least look through it, because my eyes quickly go to 1310, where it talks about that for violation you can go to jail for this. And I thought we had talked about taking that part of it out and just making it a civil infraction violation. Or am I confusing that with the grass cutting?
No, when this was brought forward back in October, there was some items on here like that was in question, and that's why we needed to bring it to the workshop to remove certain items out of it.
All right.
Okay.
So the other thing to note is that in section 1, item 13-5A, in the original version that we received back in the fall, the language said after the comma, the language used to say it has become necessary, and the suggested change is it may be necessary. So you all didn't approve anything back then.
No.
You just said, we're not going to even introduce this now, we're going to bring it back.
Right.
So then the second other piece is in section B. The code currently says the required work shall consist of, and the suggested change is the work may consist of. And then the last thing I want to call your attention to is in section 13-8, which is on that second page there, that is, again, new language. The new language suggested back in the fall regarding notice was that notice would be mailed by ordinary mail and registered mail, return receipt. I see here that that's been changed to notice being given by a door hanger and a photograph of the door hanger, and then the person getting 30 days notice. So that's another thing to think about when you're reviewing this new language, is that notice, is that type of notice and that time frame acceptable to the mayor and council?
One thing I did want to ask is on the one that we were talking about, it says in order to protect public health, safety, convenience, welfare of the town, it may be necessary to initiate construction or repair of the streets and sidewalks. Who's going to be responsible? Is it going to be the town responsible for repairing the sidewalks or the homeowner?
Which section is that
What
in?
section?
It's in 13.5A.
That's current language. So it says that already. It just says it has become necessary to initiate construction and repair of the streets and sidewalks. That's current language. It looks like the proposed language from the fall is to say it may be necessary, but it
Well, I understand that, but I'm
it
wondering
ascribes
who's,
no ownership to who does the work.
right, but that, shouldn't we have that in there that, because since the people had to pay for the sidewalk, are they responsible for fixing the sidewalk at a cost, or is the town going to pick up the cost to fix the sidewalk? That's the other
Section C does address that. It gives the town authority to do that. I think you could also work with the owner to have them do it. It doesn't mean the town has to do it.
All right, so,
I think we need to do it. And the only reason I say we need to do it is because we have to establish some type of minimum standard. And anybody can go to Sandals and buy a bag of sacrifice to patch a
Yeah,
hole.
say like I did my sidewalk.
You know, so I mean,
Right.
yeah, so there has to be some type of.
I mean, since we had a professional people do the sidewalk, would you want it looking like crap if somebody just goes out and mixes up a bunch of concrete, throws water on it, and it's fixed? But, that's, okay, that's fine.
I've been just trying to figure out in here, I don't have a problem with us doing the repairs to the sidewalk to maintain a minimum
Correct.
standard. And I don't have a problem with us repairing them if they become uneven and become slip, trip, fall hazards. I mean, that's just Mother Nature as it works. That's not the property
so
owner's fault.
13-8 says that the property owner is responsible. for
I
it.
see that, and that's what I'm arguing.
So, can we just stop for a minute? We're just banging around like a ping pong ball, and we're not gonna get anything to come. If you don't mind, if you can bear with me, please, let's go through each one of these, make our comments, and if we make changes, then we make them, because otherwise we're just pinging around, we'll never get this thing finished, I don't think. So, let's just start, ready with 13-5 and A. Is there anything in there, any language or verbiage that you all would like to see changed?
So again, just for the record, 13-5A, as you're seeing it from your packet, is not how it's currently written. It's currently written as it has become necessary. It looks like this version, the suggested change was just accepted and without, like, it was just
Well, what we're
accepted.
looking at is what we're proposing to approve, is that not correct?
Yes, generally you are given something
You're
that
telling us
shows
that the
you,
change has been made from the original.
from the original proposal, it's
And
still,
I think that,
I'm just
the
saying,
city
usually
moving
you-
forward for something like this, if we have the original in there with the red, being the change
Highlighted,
of verbiage,
yeah.
it would be easier for us to differentiate between.
yeah, so that's
the-
what we
okay,
provided, but
If I could just back up, this was brought to council, okay?
Okay.
You all approved it as it's written right now. It was posted in the paper to have, it was introduced and then posted in the paper. When we got ready to have the hearing, you said pull it because there was too many questions that you had to ask. That's
Right.
why it was pulled. So this was the version that was approved before.
All right, so we just need to
That's
go
all.
through and make sure
But-
that this is the one.
sorry, when you
that-
say approved
Yeah.
before, it was never voted on, this ordinance back in the fall.
It was approved to, it was introduced and there was no question and then it was advertised to, for the public hearing on it.
Okay, because the track changes version that we have in our files is the one that has the strikeouts and the bold language.
I'll have to go back and look then, because this is what
Yeah.
Julie had in her file. So.
And this is, the track changes version that we have, it reflects the current code. So in A, I won't go any farther than A, in A, the suggestion was to change has become to may be.
All right, so now that you've thoroughly confused us, the document that we have tonight
For
is
the
the one
record,
that we can
we
work on.
provided the one with all the
Hold on.
changes mentioned.
No, I got it. No, I got it. Let me just print this off. It's gonna be, I'm gonna fix it though. Hold on.
Is that this other one with the red?
Is that a separate ordinance?
That's a
That's
separate
the second
ordinance.
Oh,
one. O2. This is,
Hold on a second. I'm gonna fix this right now.
It's on the
Make it more
back
clear.
of that first page, Kim, where she has it highlighted, I think. So,
yeah, so this is the part that changes.
Correct.
Whatever we do, we just want to put this to bed so we can
Yep,
introduce it
absolutely.
and vote on it.
Nope, give me just maybe a minute here. I'm just going through and making sure I've got everything done.
I also just have, if you want to just copy the version.
The other one, does it have the red on it?
It's in bold and italics. Which
Is it red though? Because they wanted it red to
Well-
see. That's all, that's all. If you've got any other.
I've highlighted all the sections that are new.
Because I've got that too. It's like in italic, so.
So let me ask you, does it really matter where the verbiage talks about may or must when we talk about A? Which one are you suggesting?
No,
that
I
we-
just wanted to make sure you knew that the language that you're seeing is not the current
The
language.
proposed change language.
Right, I just wanted to make sure you knew that you weren't seeing the typical format of crossed out current language and suggested bold language, just so that you had full information.
But I understand that, but I'm asking you,
No.
would you prefer us to use the verbiage may or must?
The
There's
maybe,
which one of those protects us legally better?
I think maybe is more clear. Has become just sounds like,
Right, so we didn't have any problem then, I guess, then with A, B, and C. The problem that we got to, so when we get to 13.7A, that's where we talk about cleaning off,
13.7 is brand new. Yep, everything.
cleaning
after
off the sidewalk for the snow.
that. Yep, all of that is brand new language.
So in essence, what that is saying is that all sidewalks that abut your property have to be cleared by the property owner within 24 hours after accumulation of snow. It doesn't speak to an inch, 2 inch, 5 inches. It just says if there's any snow on there, you're supposed to clean it off within 24 hours after it stops snowing.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct,
And it's their responsibility to do that.
correct.
Anybody have any heartache with that? Okay. And then B talks about the maintaining of trees and vegetation. The problem with this is that as I ride around in the morning, I see people walking down the sidewalk and they're ducking to get underneath the tree limbs that are hanging down, and the kids that are going to school are ducking or hanging on them or whatever. So, and then, you know, you have trouble with clear vision of seeing vehicular traffic.
Sight triangle.
So I think that we needed to put something in there, wasn't anything clear in there that they're responsible, because the last time we went around and cleaned out trees because they were blocking the sidewalk, we got in trouble for that. Because the property owners didn't appreciate us over trimming their trees. So now we're making, because there wasn't any language, so we went out and did it, trying to improve the town. So now we're saying it's your responsibility, correct?
That's what B says, yes.
All right. And same thing with C, the roots or vegetation is the same thing. So if you got a tree planted next to your sidewalk and the roots grow underneath of it, cause it to jump up and crack and all of that, and it becomes a safety hazard, you as the property owner are responsible for repairing it.
Taking care of the tree damage, not repairing the sidewalk. Corrective action to prevent further damage is dealing with the thing causing the damage, which is the tree. But,
Shall immediately take corrective action to prevent further damage. Such action may include trimming trees, removing trees, or other measures to improve the town. So when it damages the sidewalk, then it doesn't address who fixes that then.
That's addressed in
8.
8, yes.
All right, and this is the one where Pete was talking about that he seems to think that it might be better for the town to do it as opposed to making it the responsibility of the property owner.
I just think you need either the town or it's designated, whether it's a contractor or whatever, but you need some type of standard, and you need to maintain that standard. And, I mean, if I had a sidewalk in front of my house and a tree root messed it up and I got rid of the tree, I'm just gonna stand with a good bag of saccharin, dump it in there, and you wouldn't know the difference. It's fixed. But it's not fixed to any major standard. It doesn't, there's nothing there. We have to have some type of consistency, because we're the ones gonna be sued.
Right,
So-
and some of these houses got stamped sidewalks in front of them, so if it's got that now, you want them to take it up and put it back, and then it won't be stamped 3,500 PSI.
If I had my
Concrete or
drain,
sack
all the
creek.
utilities would run under the sidewalks, and you never have to cut my street again. So that's the way to do it. It's easier to maintain.
I agree with what Pete's saying. I think that either us as from Public Works or a contractor. that
Well, we had to fix the sidewalk over here on Cedar, where right by the library where it had buckled up,
Mhm.
remember?
Yep.
We fixed that, because who owned that, really? Because there's no property except for that cemetery, correct, right there? So,
Well,
And sidewalks are in your rights of way.
yeah, they are,
Right.
and
Correct.
they're used by the public in general,
Right.
just like our streets.
correct.
So the other thing just to note is that the original version of 13.8 had a notice by mail and registered mail. This version has a door hanger, but the notice may not be as important to you if you're going to decide that you're just giving notice to them that you will be coming out, that you, the town, will be coming out to repair the sidewalk.
Yeah, we've changed that because it takes at least 15 days from the time we mail something out. It's got to go to Baltimore and make its way back, and it's 10 to 15 days, and that's business days before they get it. So depending on your time frame, we've decided to do door hangers. We take pictures of them, put them on there, and then that's what we utilize as proof of the delivery.
There just might be concern over homes that are not lived in at the time, or homes that are abandoned, or that the property owner may not come by to see.
Well, we know if they're
notice.
there or not because of the water usage. We check that.
So, do you want to, well, I guess, do you want to have a different notice for property owners who don't have water turned off at a certain property
So,
that's causing
Why
problems?
can't we do the door hanger on the physical property
We do.
and send the registered property owner the same notification letter with a copy of the door hanger? Because
can.
most of this is tenant property. So I mean, ultimately, it's the property owner that we need to notify, not the tenant.
If the landlord is out of town, don't live in town, and we know that this is a rented, then we do mail them out, but the cost is quite expensive to do
$30.
certified mail. And that's no guarantee they're gonna get it, because they might get it and not sign the letter, and that's what happens the majority of the time. They will not sign off on the certified letter that we send.
Your code may have a provision for that, I didn't look to see, but other towns we work with, it says this counts as proper notice, whether they sign it and send it back, or we can show that they're refusing to sign, that qualifies as having
I
properly
don't know
notified.
which postal thing it is, whether it's certified or what, but I know one of them, when you track your package or whatever, even if they don't sign for it, you get a notification it was delivered
Correct.
from the postal service.
I'll have to check and see if they're.
I just don't know, which one it is, because I actually heard a lady explain that to somebody the other day. But I just think that, most of this property is tenant property, and a door hanger on a front door, if they use the back door, they're not gonna see it. But I think we need to notify the property owner. That's the guy we're gonna bill for the water and the sewer.
Well, it does say right here, the property owner shall make the repairs within a specific time specified in the notice from the town.
Right.
Failure to comply with the notice may result in the town performing the work and charging the cost of the owner, collectible in the same manner as property tax.
So it sounds like what you're discussing is changing this section to get rid of the obligation of the property owner to even try to do repairs.
I don't know. I don't think we need to get rid of it entirely. I think we need to divide it. In other words, if you have an overhanging tree branch, we're gonna send you the door hanger.
I
And
see.
to tell you that you need to correct it, it's your responsibility to go out there and trim the tree and do that and the other. Your failure to do that result in a fine.
Okay.
Same way if you're supposed to remove the snow, if you don't remove the snow. Now, if let's just take the example of a root grows up underneath the sidewalk and raises it up. We'll notify them, it's their responsibility to take care of the root coming out and whatever they gotta do to do that. And then what Pete, at least Pete's suggesting, is then if there's repairs that need to be made to a sidewalk, we want to do that ourselves, because then we can handle it our better, and
Right.
we end up paying for it, but we can control it better
Okay.
than having them try to do
We
it.
can
To our-
redraft some of this and get it right back
You
to
know
you.
what I mean, so just be the two,
Correct,
I mean,
right.
that sound good to you?
Yeah, I mean, we just need a minimum standard.
And then I think, let's talk about the penalty. I think that, $500 and going to jail is insane.
Yeah.
And I think that we should make it consistent with like cutting grass and those things, which we're gonna talk about in a little while, which would be $100 fine. And then after 5 days, if you haven't fixed it, then it would be another violation. It would be $200. And then after another 5 days, it would be another 200. They'd just keep doing the $200. Not every single day, like right now, we charge you every day.
Well, you have the ability to. You do not have to, which I'll discuss
Yeah,
when
but
we
we
get to
wanna
that
make
one.
it clear, because if it says you can, then we wanna try to be consistent. If you put it in there and says we can, Cindy's the town manager now, she might say, no, we're not gonna do that. The next town manager comes along and says, yeah, we're gonna charge them every day. That's not being consistent or fair.
Right.
So
It's
if
just-
we take
that's
that
a-
verbiage out.
That's
and
a strong stick that you have to try to keep people from violating your.
I understand that, but and it's up to the council, but I think that if we give them $100 fine, we give them 5 days, a chance to get it fixed, and then it's 200. Now they're in for 300. They get another 5 days, and that's another $200. Now we're talking $500. That's
What about changing the verbiage to the town reserves the right to?
too.
I mean, that's the same thing as can.
Yeah.
You don't have to, like, in other towns, and you've probably been able to do it here as well. Someone has come to you and said, I'm really trying to fix the problem. I have enough money for the problem or the fine, not for both. So what would you like me to do? And then the town is able to be
Work with it.
flexible based on the current language. Also, just know that it will cost the town money to do the advertising for the changing of the language, to change that ordinance to go from 1 day to 5 days. Is that a cost you want to spend if it's something the town already has the ability to flexibly manage? It's not
Well, we got
required.
that coming up.
Yeah, we'll wait for
down the
that,
road.
but,
So
so you're
let's-
saying the standard property maintenance violation fee schedule is what you prefer?
That's my purpose. It's up to the council, but yeah.
You're suggesting, I guess.
I
is
mean,
the
that's
word.
what I mean, that's fair, I think. Don't you think, Joe?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, we're gonna do is fair to keep it across the board.
And that's my concern, because right now, you can read some of our ordinances and they're a little wishy-washy. And then if you've got somebody that says, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then they don't do it, and then somebody else does something the same way, but we don't grant them the same. You get into that somebody misinterprets what we're doing, and I think we need to be crystal clear of what we're
Right.
doing and what our fines are gonna be. I don't think there should be any doubt what it means.
Okay. All right, so, we obviously don't need to vote on this. Does anybody, Kim, is there anything we've discussed in this that you have a heartache with, so when we comes back, hopefully we can vote on it?
No.
Joe?
No.
Bobby? Nope. Pete?
That might be
You
something.
got all the good notes, right? The
I
two
just
of
want
you?
to confirm that, so you'd like that notice to property owner section to actually be kind of two different things, so the door hanger for the regular stuff.
Door hanger
and
for the
then
trees,
some bigger notice.
roots and stuff.
Are you also, does the council want to still charge the property owner if you have to fix the sidewalk? That last sentence is, the town might perform the work and charge the cost to the
No.
owner.
We don't wanna charge.
Okay,
We're gonna do the work and pay for it. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay. All right.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
What is the general cost, just curious, to fix it?
It varies, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, depending, if you're getting concrete, most of the time they got like a 2-yard minimum, so when you do it, you hope that you got like 2 areas that you can
Couple
do.
to fix?
The fine pretty much will cover some of that cost anyhow.
Correct.
Okay.
So it will
Yeah,
actually,
right.
yeah, I mean, if they get a fine and a 5-day fine after that, I mean, you've done almost covered 2 yards.
Would you like to specify the overhanging trees? Like where I live, the tree has to be at least, the overhang can't dip down below 6 feet, so that like a 6-foot person wouldn't be hitting their head
I
on the
would.
tree.
Yeah, I guess if you put some language in there, at least we'll have something to hang our hat on, like the grass, you have to walk around with a
Yeah.
stick to show them it's.
Can we do it like an 8-foot?
I'd say 8
Because
foot.
when it rains and everything,
Weigh-
some of these
weigh-
trees weigh it down.
Right.
So,
When it's dry, it shouldn't be any lower than 6 foot, I would say.
right.
Just keep it at 8 foot.
I'll
Keep it
just do
standard.
8 foot. Okay, and I'll update this and send it back to Cindy, and then
Fines or something?
you can, if you choose to introduce it
Next week.
next week, yeah. And then you would do your notice for a public hearing after that. Okay, thank you, everyone.
If they get to 750, they go to taxing.
All right, thank you.
But I am
That
working
wasn't
on
too
it,
bad.
you know, it's something
So the next one is our dredging permit ordinance is 26-0-2. And I'll let Cindy and Brandon talk about this. The short version of it is that anybody that's doing any excavating work or digging or anything like that in town, we're concerned about them hitting our utilities. Right now, we are putting all of our faith in 911 or 811 or whatever the other number you call to dig. And we would like to have a little bit more notice so that we know what's going on in town and we can go out there and check just to make sure in case the ball gets dropped somewhere and we're not notified. So
It is. And as a matter of fact, we just had something happen this evening where someone did not call and was looking through our manholes and so forth. So currently, this was brought up back in November. And this was after we found a broken, or actually a leak created down on Sunset, wasn't it? And we went down there and kind of find out somebody had hit it and fixed it, patched it themselves and covered it up. So we didn't know. We don't know how long ago this was, but it didn't hold, it sprung the leak. Public Works went down there and fixed it. So at that point, we got to thinking, okay, there's something wrong here, we don't know who's digging. And at the time, we weren't really getting the missed utility tickets like we should have been getting. That's been fixed now. We do get them on a daily basis on who's digging in our area. But this was to prevent anyone that does not go through missed utility to make sure they come in here and get a permit so that we know who is actually digging and hold them accountable.
Well, and something else, you know, we've noticed people that put in their post for their mailbox and stuff, a lot of times they won't even call them utility. And that's all it takes is somebody hit sewer main or sewer line or water line, and then they're quickly pointing the blame that, hey, we want you to fix it. And then when you dig down to it, you can see, hey, it's been fixed, and it wasn't by us.
Well, then you have situations too, I know, I don't know who put cable into our property before, but it crossed over our neighbor's property onto our property, so when they called to have their fence put up, they came out and marked, but they never even assumed that our cable line crossed over theirs, their property, so our cable line ended up getting cut.
Well, it's funny that you say about cable. Back in Wood Duck, there now in the cul-de-sac, they actually had a cable line went right through the sewer pipe, and it was like that for about 15 plus years. Nobody ever knew it. Went out there and found it, and everybody was pointing blame at everybody else and said it wasn't them, because nobody wanted to fix it.
Oh, my daughter's house, the county placed the fiber optic through the sewer pipe.
Yep.
And finally, after backwash, it backed up. That's how the only reason they found it.
So this would require anybody digging in the town to get a permit.
digging in the town roadway.
Right, yes.
What about emergency situations?
What do you mean? If there's a,
I mean, what if you got a water main break, and all of a sudden you got, you know what I'm saying, or something?
well, if there's a water main break, we're gonna be notified, I would hope.
Okay.
What you're talking about on the
A lot
property?
of the big emergencies, we get notified from Miss Utility. But the purpose, more or less, on this was because you'll have your Saturday morning plumbers, or one of the plumbers, go out there and fix stuff and.
Do a sewer line or something.
Section J addresses the emergency situation. Basically, like, get to us as soon as you can.
Okay.
Let us know.
So, there's a lot to read through this. I'm assuming that you have read through this. So do you have any heartache with any from a legal standpoint?
No, I think we did this one.
Yeah, they fixed a lot of the ledge.
Yeah, I know.
This one, if you are comfortable, can be introduced tonight because it's been put in ordinance form, it's in the packet.
And they have to get a permit, and there's a fee for getting a permit. Am I understanding that right or not? You and I talked about it today, but not,
You had said no fee,
I don't have a problem
just to
with
get the permit.
We just wanna know, we don't wanna charge them, we just wanna know.
That's what you had told me.
They're gonna pay enough if they screw up
Right.
after they get a permit, so.
And and in section C, the permit, well, actually, no, it does say permit fee here.
I thought it did in here, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Make it $5. No, seriously, because you can have office staff that have to capture this stuff, somebody has to record it. So, I mean, you charge them something.
Great.
I mean,
And
I don't have,
skin
I
in the
pay
game.
third party.
mean, if I want to put my fence up or replace my fence, I gotta come up here and pay something, so. Or at least go ahead and spend time with Jamie to find out if they want to do it legal, so that takes time.
Well, this will definitely create more work for us.
Right, so there should be a fee attached. Now, I don't want to be an ungodly fee where nobody will come up there and report it. That's why I say just make it $5 or something simple.
If, yeah.
It doesn't address in here how much a fee, right?
Nope.
No, it just
No, we
says.
just have
And that can go on your fee schedule
Yep.
so that you can change it by resolution instead.
Okay.
All right, so we put this to bed.
So do you know who will be introducing it?
I will. Now, this 2601 says introduced by me. Am I allowed to introduce an ordinance as the mayor?
I don't
I don't
think
think
so,
so.
but we didn't
It
introduce
just
this
it got my
one.
name. It's on this one here. I didn't want to
Yeah.
show up with the new one,
Yeah,
but somebody else is going to have to.
No,
Yeah.
what happens is usually they're introduced and then, well, it's introduced by, but I usually check to see.
so you can formally introduce this one, 2026-0-2, the excavation digging. You can formally introduce that one now. If you just want to read the,
I mean, now?
Yeah.
you can, yeah.
So
Certainly
Joe's
allowed
gonna-
to.
It was on our agenda.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
It doesn't mean that there's any public comment on it, you haven't set the public hearing, but you can introduce it.
All right, so we're looking at ordinance 2026-0-2, which is being introduced by Commissioner Noon. An ordinance to the town of Greensboro amending chapter 13 of the Greensboro Town Code titled Streets and Sidewalks to establish a process and standards for construction, excavation, maintenance, and other activities related to public utilities in the town's roads, sidewalks, and right. Thank you. All right, code violations, property maintenance code violations. Cindy?
Yes. So this is where it's a little iffy about how we charge. Right now, it says that once we institute a fine of $100, that's for the first offense. Each offense after that, which creates another day, is $200. I wanted to change this to where it says each day to 5 business days. That way, it takes a lot of burden off of my staff and Public Works of going out and trying to keep this going every day to look to see if the violation has been repaired and how we're affixing the citations. This would give, when we give them notice of the violation, we go out and they haven't fixed it, they'll get a $100 fine, and they'll get 5 business days to fix it. After 5 business days, we go back, they've not fixed it, they get a $200 fine, and they get 5 business days to fix it. So this goes on until.
So who's serving the initial, the civil citation? Is it the police department doing it?
That's at the, so sorry to interrupt, that's like farther down
Okay.
the way, so you actually have to give them time to comply and time to appeal. So when you give them that notice letter, you send the notice letter through your notice requirements, which is usually what we just talked about, the certified mail, or hand delivering it to the person, or finding them at work, or someone of suitable age and discretion to accept the letter. Then they should have, I think it's like 10 or 20 days, depending on your code, to appeal. Because you're saying to them, you're in violation. If you don't fix this in so many days, we're going to charge you a fine. They have to have so many days to appeal, so you're not saying, today, January 8th, you're in violation, the fine starts now. You're giving them notice to say the fine will start on such and such a day.
So whatever we've got has gone through legal, and that's how we've been operating, which
Yeah.
means that.
What you have is what I just described,
so-
which is all
okay,
fine.
so-
Our position is that you can pragmatically implement this, so why go through the cost of changing it and doing the notice? You can implement this in ways that make sense for case-by-case basis.
Yeah, but I don't, that's the problem, case by case.
Case by case is subject to interpretation.
Exactly.
Sure.
That's why I don't want to
It
do
will
that.
take a little more than just this suggestion though, so what you're doing is adding an amendment to the property maintenance code. You're saying this specific violation for this specific fee for this kind of thing, like it's minimal weeds or whatever the other rubbish, whatever you want to put in that bucket, then you have to change the code, not just in section 106, but in 1-11, which is your general penalties. Or your general penalties code says, generally, we do $100 every day until you fix this thing, unless it's specified in code. So you can specify this different 5-day deadline, but you are just allowed to do it. You don't have to. You don't have to assess this money every single time. I understand the concern that it can then be possibly preferentially enforced and not fairly enforced.
Well, the problem is, you end up with repeat offenders. So every time they violate, you get a new letter, it's another 20 days. So a year from now, we still have to solve the damn problem, and they've only paid a $100 fine.
Right.
Well, that's,
So
and
that's
it's
the
not going
problem.
to be fixed by 5 days, it's actually going to be less, because they'll,
Yeah, but if you
They'll
write them a ticket, and we go to court, then there's legal action.
yes,
And that's what it takes. Every time there's a violation, you send them a notice.
Yep.
You get a letter, hey, I gotta cut my grass, or hey, I gotta quit burning my trash in my backyard. And then for 20 days, they still burn the trash. Okay, on the 21st day, we write them a ticket. It's $100. But it's cheaper to pay that $100 than it is to run another can from the trash company. So they keep burning the trash. And it's just a vicious cycle.
but every day that they burn the trash after your first $100 would be normally another $100.
Right.
Here you're saying every 5 days it's only going to be $100.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm getting at is we need to write the civil citations so that we go to court.
That's how it works.
Yeah,
That's
we
what
need
we're
to go
doing.
see the state's attorney, we need to make sure they have the code of Greensboro, the commissioners had it back when I was the chief of police, and all our stuff went through the state's attorney's office and we went to court.
That is,
We didn't pussyfoot around for a year and coddle everybody. They were fined, just like speeding tickets. You got fined, you had so many days to pay, or we'll see you in court.
Well, we are issuing fines, correct?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Every day.
But I mean, it's getting ridiculous, because I just feel like it's the same people, the same problem, and we just keep kicking the can. And there's got to be a legal way to quit kicking the can.
there,
And I have no problem with the old language that used to say penalties and fines not to exceed $1,000 or 90 days in jail. I'm okay with that too. But if they tell you they have no money, you can't get blood out of a turnip, but you can put turnip in jail.
someone incurring a fine of $100 every day, in my mind, would be much more likely to fix the problem than if they were incurring a $100 fine every 5 days.
I've got 3 right now that are not fixing the issue.
Well, let us know, because the steps that he just described are exactly what you're authorized to take. What Lindsay doesn't automatically say the town should go on the property and fix the problem. We need a court order for that. But that's what we're doing right now with another town. They've given us a list, we're sending the notices, they're not complying. The next step is filling out those citations.
Okay, well then I got a quick question then. You just said that we had to have a court order to get on the property. We cut people's grass all the time that don't cut it, so that means we gotta have a court order to get on the
No,
property?
I'm sorry.
Okay, I just wanted to,
It's more
Clarify.
for like the big stuff, like demolition or taking their trash all away. It's really just better, from Lindsay's perspective and her experience, to have the court be on your side if you're
Oh, yeah.
doing that significant
So
amount.
what
of
is your
work.
suggestion, since you're dealing with all the fines?
well, I've got 3 people right now that don't pay any attention to it, and they're building up. The last time we took it to court, you can testify this, and I think you can testify this, we were doing the same thing, where we were fining them every day, and the judge kicked it out and said that's
Overkill.
overkill, and he cut it back. So we've got to come up with something that we can at least work with, that if we have to take them to court, they're gonna honor this instead of us
We're
doing
just
all the work.
we're just causing ourselves a whole lot more
It
work,
is. It's a
charging
lot
them
of
every
work.
day when we never get anything in the end. It doesn't solve the problem, nor do we ever
No.
get the money back in the end, because the judge just says, that's crazy, you know, and they'll fine them $500 and be done with it. So,
And then it starts all over again.
you know,
But you should be able to get an order from the judge that says this person needs to fix this thing.
oh, they do say to fix it, but I mean, they got $2,000 worth of fines when they go in there. And then the judge gives them a $500 fine and tells you, you gotta get it cleaned within this time, or I'm gonna get you and give you another fine or whatever.
Right.
But they throw away all the other violations, is what I'm saying. You know, they don't.
And then it starts all over
They don't
again.
make you pay the $2,000. The judges just think that's ridiculous, that we're finding somebody every day. I saw that in traffic court, and police.
Sure.
You know, if you write,
Yeah.
the judge write somebody 10 tickets, the judge will
This
get
is,
mad. We
the
like, why you
system,
writing 10 tickets? You don't need to write but one.
then the system you have is allowed by state law, so it's not like you're doing something, it's just, yes, the
I know, but we're
the
just,
judiciary
we're
is
trying to be
intervening.
consistent and less like,
Yeah.
less work for our employees and solve the problem all at the same time. And right now, like Pete said, it's open for interpretation, and we don't want to be that way. We want to be consistent with whoever we're dealing with. This is how we do it.
Absolutely, let us know if someone's not complying, because we can also do what you've described.
All right. So, you guys need to think about it, we're gonna have to vote on it next time you come around. Do you wanna do the, you know, the fine and then $5, we can fine you the $200, and every 5 days we keep fining you, or do you wanna keep doing it the way we are, where we fine you $100 or $200 every day after we start fining?
And just like the last one, you can
That's a lot
direct,
of work.
you can direct me to draft the
So
language
you're
and I can
recommending
give
the
it back
5
to you.
days, right?
That's just me because I don't want
You're
there
the
to
one
be,
that has to deal with it, that's why.
I don't want any more misinterpretation. I don't want everybody to have to go out every day to look to see if something's been done.
Right.
If that's what works
I'm
best for
trying to
you
be
and your office, then
consistent
I'm
and
okay with
fair.
that.
Right.
That's all.
I'm fine with
But
that
I think
too.
we also need to meet with the state's attorney's office and find out what we can do here to kind of push us along when it goes to the court side of it.
So I'm hearing consensus then, although we don't have to vote on it tonight, is that you wanted to go with the every 5th day you can be fined.
Correct.
Yeah, if that's what Cindy's recommending, it's her office that has to do it.
$100 first time, $200 every 5th day thereafter. Okay.
And are there certain property maintenance violations that you think are more egregious, that you'd want to keep that
No, it's
old
gonna be the
system?
same.
This is just
Well, just
for
be
the entire
consistent.
It's the
PM
same,
code?
same for everything.
Right.
Okay,
Right, Cindy?
We usually have
Yes.
issues with grass and
Trash.
trash in your yard.
yeah,
That's our biggest.
and like houses
And
that
unpaid
need to be
vehicles.
demolished.
All right, abatement of lease. That's for Cindy and Brandon.
Let me get to it, sorry. So this is the leak. This can be very confusing because in 2 different sections of our town code, kind of gives difference of opinion in there. On one section, it says we can give a credit for sewer portion only of a water leak, as long as we know that there's been a water leak and it's been fixed by a plumber, a licensed plumber, or Public Works goes out and verifies it. If a pool has been filled, if you are watering your lawn, if you're watering your garden, all that is a criteria for this credit that you get toward the sewer bill. The problem is, on one side, it says you can go back and look at 60 days, but then it says 2 billing cycles, which would be 6 months. So I'm just trying to narrow this down and get a better understanding, because it's very confusing when somebody calls in and from 5 months ago, they had a leak and they're just now dealing with it and they want a credit.
I'd say 60 days. Won't you?
Don't go back any further than the last billing cycle.
That's what I suggest,
Right.
the last billing cycle.
Yeah.
The language says it shall be for a period not exceeding 60 days. So you could even say 30 days if you wanted. 60 days is the max that you are currently permitted in code. And that is just for a leak. That is not for filling your swimming pool or for watering your lawn. You're specifically not.
Yeah, it kind of goes in the same direction then when it comes to the time that you get the credit, though.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Yes. So, so when you get into the pool filling and all, it's the same verbiage. It's the exact same verbiage
Aren't they
The pool,
supposed to get
no, the
prior
pool, the pool filling, you just
Yeah.
have to notify the
We
person.
had that meeting about that
Right.
you needed to call ahead, 2 days ahead of time.
Three
to let them
days.
know that you were not-
The pool
3 days.
filling
3
does
days.
not have the same language as the abatement period because it's not in the.
So I got a question on this. I suggest 30 days, don't give them longer, because if anybody has a leak longer than 5 days, our town code states that we can, if we notify them, they got 5 days to have that leak fixed, or we can turn their water off, because, to conserve water. So, we give somebody 90 days, and you're going back and trying to give somebody a credit for it. I think 30 days is sufficient enough.
Which you're currently allowed to do. It just says shall not exceed 60 days, and that's just for the leak.
Well, again, this goes by interpretation. When you got a resident coming in saying 60 days, that's what it says.
The
So
language says not exceeding.
I know that, but they're interpreting it like they've got 60 days.
Well,
and
then
you're
that's the
sitting.
council's job to explain to them, or I'll be the bad guy and explain to them that's not what
I'm
that
just-
means.
Try to make it clear, because you get them in here, they're in here for a half hour to an hour complaining about this because it says 60 days, even though we can say that, they're still gonna stand there and complain. I'm just trying to make things clear. You guys can decide how you wanna go with this and I'll follow it, but I just know that this happens quite often.
So what you're asking for is you want a definitive date of once the leak has been identified. So once we've identified that there's a leak, you got 30 days to fix it or 30 days to go back for your bill,
So 30 days to go back for the bill, because
not fix it.
they could say, this went back. I've got somebody
Well,
that's a year and a half
Say
ago.
just word it last billings.
And most of the time, they don't know they got a leak until they get a bill.
And then they
Alright.
have 45 days from that. I
Well,
think,
then
to
what
notify.
about a running toilet? Some people don't know the toilet's running.
So if it's a running toilet, the declarer, it will generate that it's got a constant flow, it never reaches zero.
So what I don't understand is why aren't we catching the leaks? Because
We
we
are.
paid for this system.
We are.
We are.
Yeah,
We
well,
are.
I hope so, but
We are.
you just said we had a leak a year and a half ago.
No, we had a resident that had a
So
leak.
do we
ongoing for a
print
year.
off the report every day, or does the report automatically come to us?
The report automatically comes to us. We
Every
get
day.
it every day and look at it. We send out text messages, emails if they've approved that. We try calling them if it's a large
Because I know
leak.
in
everything.
past, that didn't happen. That was not happening.
It is
So people
happening.
didn't know they had a
Right.
leak. They get their water bill and go, my God, I got an $800 water bill. I didn't know I had a leak.
Right.
And then they're trying to fight back and say, you know,
That's
so
what I
this is
wanna
what I'm
make
saying.
sure that
We
our
have to
system
cross
is
our
right.
eyes and, or dot our
Exactly.
eyes and cross our T's.
So, I
Well,
mean-
for a year and a half, we
Right.
have been notifying him for a year and a half.
So if we have to change the 60 days to 30 days, let's just change it.
Well, that's what your all's
Correct.
decision. I'm just
30
trying to tell you what
days.
we experience on a day-to-day basis with residents coming in complaining when we notified them of a leak and then they don't fix it.
Right.
And then they come in here after they fix it and want us to go back and credit them for,
They also have a time limit of 45 days after the leak is discovered. So if they come in and complain after that, then
which they do.
they don't get the abatement. That's currently in code.
You can do about that leak for over a year.
Well, now I've heard 45 days, 30 days, 60
The
days.
45 days is the person
It
who
sounds
can,
like the way it is currently covers us sufficiently.
but it sounds like it makes
It's
more
just-
work for
I
the
feel like no
staff
matter how much
explaining to people.
explaining you do to some people, they're just not gonna understand.
No.
But bottom line is just do the best you can to explain it, and then this is the way it is.
So rather than not exceeding 60 days, you want us to just make it no more than 30 days?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get on a timeline here that, and it doesn't.
I'm fine with 30
sound like-
days.
Yeah. Are we talking 30 business days?
30 calendar days.
30
calendar
calendar. Okay,
days.
so that's what I mean, that's gonna be my next definition.
So now I'm confused. Is this to fix the problem, or
No,
is
this
this
is
for
the
the
credit.
credit?
This is the abatement period.
And it's just for a water leak. It is not for filling the pool, and it is not for
Just when the town
watering.
notifies
Well,
they
if we
have-
wanna be really clear, why don't we just say the last billing cycle? Like,
Because last billing cycle will be 3
3
months.
months.
Yeah. It's 3 months worth of bills.
okay.
And if she's notifying them ahead of time that they got a leak, 30 days is more than enough time to get somebody to go fix that leak.
And 30 days doesn't involve
So
the
once we
repair.
find out when the leak was determined, they can only go back 30 days from that date. they get a rebate.
Correct.
In other words, if they leak for 2 months, and they didn't get it fixed till after
No,
the
it's
second
from
month,
the
they get
billing
30
period.
days.
So let me back up. So we have to enforce the 5 days. If that leak's not fixed within 5 days, then we have to turn their water off. We have to enforce that, lock it out, and they have to get that fixed. That's what the town code says.
Basically, the next billing cycle, they'll get a credit for 30 days of that billing cycle if they can show that they contacted the town and requested abatement within 45 days of finding out they were being billed for water they don't think they used for a water leak only. So on the next bill, 1 month of that bill would be credited. It's not a time period for them to fix that separate from this code. This is just, once you get a bill and you're like, what, that's a leak, you have 45 days to notify the town. And currently, the town says, we'll give you a credit of up to 2 months, but we don't have to. But what you're asking for is, you will get a solid credit of 30 days if we can, if you notify us within 45 days of finding out you had this excess bill.
So it's ensuring the abatement rather than.
It has nothing to do with forcing the fix. It's basically just saying, if you get up with us in 45 days,
Yeah.
and we can confirm that this happened within 45 days of receiving that bill, so 45 days after the end of the billing cycle, you say, whoa,
Yes, yeah, I have a problem.
all you're gonna get is a credit for a month, even if you had a leak for 89 days.
Yeah, see, I have a problem with all that. Because these guys know right away when the water doesn't go to zero, and they notify the property owner that there's a leak. Because that's how we found the one in my daughter's shower, in the wall.
Well, so,
They literally called and told me, hey, your daughter's got a leak. And I went around there, had a plumber there in 2 days, we had to cut the wall, we found the leak.
currently,
So they're aware of it. So this 45 days after telling me, hey, I had a leak and I want 30 days credit, that's all BS.
it's the request for abatement, not the notification of a leak. That's the 45 days. So they may know they had a leak the whole time, and then when they get that bill, that's when they have proof that they might be paying more than they think they should. So that 45 days, and that's your current system. And like you said, they may only need an abatement for like 5 days because you fixed the leak. So the code as written says we can give you an abatement for up to 60 days.
Yeah, we're changing it to 30. We've already just had that.
Right, but you only have to do it for 5 if you want, because it could say up to 30 days. But to Cindy's point, that still creates confusion from the residents coming to talk to the staff, and time and money, because then they'll say, why am I not getting a 30-day abatement? So then now the town runs the risk of a 5-day leak and a 30-day credit on that sewer portion, when they didn't then earn that.
Then word it the way that it's only for the amount of, from the time they were
Word it from
notified
the
of the
time
leak to the time
they
it got
fixed it.
fixed.
Right.
Because this is, you're charting, and I mean, I've got credits all over the place that we have given, and there's no rhyme or reason.
I don't have a problem with that, doing what you just said. Because, I mean, my neighbor knew about his leak for over a year and a half, and he finally took the time to dig his hole and fix it. And then he come in here and wanted all this money.
Or you say from time of leak,
From the time that they're.
Well, but if
They
he
get-
didn't ask for that
So
within
the most you
45
can
days
get
of that
is
billing
30 days
period, he
of
should
credit.
not have received.
No, she's saying if you had a leak,
Notified
you got the
2 days.
plumber, and they fixed it in 2 days, you're only getting that 2-day grace period that you're paying for. You're not getting 30 days worth of credit, you're just getting 2 days of that water
But the
leak.
maximum you could get is 30 days.
Correct,
we
right,
don't have to
That's
put
how
that
you
in
want
there.
it to be changed, right?
right,
You want it to say not exceeding 30 days,
correct.
and you want additional language in there that says, or for the exact period of time that the leak was a problem.
Correct.
So I guess we need to discuss, okay, so this is back in my mind here. From the time they're notified that there's a leak, and if they, like I said, I just had a gentleman come in and it was a year and a half before he had it fixed. And you know that because we just had that discussion, had to send Brandon out to sit there and talk to him about this. But that's a year and a half then before he's fixing that leak. So there has to be a timeline that we're giving them. I realize certain leaks might take
I
longer.
thought he said 5 days.
That's before we can cut it off. Our town code says 5 days it needs to be repaired or you turn your water off.
Correct.
Mhm.
Because of that.
So how did he get away with it for a year and a half?
Because they didn't know.
Hey,
this.
well, couple of reasons. Biggest one was he notified people and heard about the leak, and management at that time, they said, well, he knows about it, he's paying for it. And he did. He paid $700, $800, $900, $1,500 worth of it.
He paid dearly for it.
Yes,
So they just put in there after 5
Did
days.
he request an
and turn it
abatement
off.
at any time?
not until he just fixed his.
So the only thing he would qualify for would
30
be
days.
30, well, up to 60, but
Right.
immediately,
But
yes, but
even though our ordinance says we can turn it off after 5 days, can we legally do that?
not when the temperature is over 90 degrees, and there might be one other condition about cold weather in the code, but you can, I mean, you turn off water all
I
the
mean,
time, right, for
and I
non-payment?
get the point, but if somebody's like on vacation for 7 days, they're gone for a week, they didn't know they had a leak, all of a sudden they show up, I think that's where this 30 days, I think that's fair. If they fix it within 2 days, they only get 2 days worth of grace in there, because we'll know when it's fixed, so.
And that will be reflected in the bill? Like, you'll be able to see the usage
Yeah.
spiking in the bills, you'll be able to say,
Yeah,
okay,
you
these are
can-
the 2 days we're gonna abate your sewer.
You can tell down to the hour on it.
That's awesome, I love data. Okay, so I can draft up what you're talking about so that you can introduce it next time. I just want to make sure I'm clear. So in this section 5, the abatement period shall be for the period of time when the leak was happening,
Was discovered.
was this between the time when it was discovered and fixed?
Correct.
Okay. Between discovered and
Notified
fixed.
and
Right, and repair has been made.
notified or discovered?
I can put notified in there, we
Notified,
can
yeah.
talk about it next
Right.
time. And then, or a period not exceeding 30 days.
Correct.
All right, whatever you come up with, make sure you're with her, because you lost me a long time.
Okay, I'm just
Um,
making sure I understand what the council wants, because these are legislative matters. and
Well,
I
I'm
have to
hearing
make
that
sure
that's
you're-
what they're saying, but
Yeah.
the 5 But I want to go back to this 5-day cutoff thing. That's bothersome, and I could see it being a real issue for us in that if you're told it's leaking a little bit, but you're not losing a lot of water, I mean, do you really want to cut the water? Now, I can understand if you're losing 2,000 gallons of water an hour or something, we need to cut it off. But if they're losing, another 100 gallons a day, do we really want to cut somebody's water off after 5 days? Huh?
Should we then
Well, that-
specify the size of the leak?
I don't know, that's what I'm asking.
After a
I
certain
just-
size?
This is just for abatement. I think what you're discussing is a separate,
I'm talking about cutting the
rules that
water
we're
off.
trying to
We just found this out apparently, first I heard of it, so.
Yeah, this week.
So, but just to go back on it, you're gonna have to specify about, like, if you're over so many gallons, because when you said
Well, it says right
about,
in there, if it puts a tax on the system.
Yeah, I think that we need to put an amount of, if you're leaking,
Because I have 12,000
exceeding
gallons, I
X
can
amount
use it
of
3
gallons a
months.
day,
And I
if
only
you don't
use
cut
3.
it, fix it, we'll cut it off.
that's a
could have a
different
leak, and
ordinance.
that leak till it
This
gets
one's,
12,000.
this one is just for the
this
abatement.
would be.
Yeah.
I moved on from abatement.
Okay, so
I
you're
need to-
just, so that's,
Well, hold on, let's make sure that she has what she has. to
I
tell
think I
us.
do. It's,
Yeah, number 5.
the time from the leak was identified to being fixed, or, not, a period not exceeding 30 days. And this is just for leaks. There's a separate item B, which is the swimming pool,
Yep.
which is,
That language
doesn't
seems
seem to be
okay.
a problem.
No, that language seems to be okay.
There's no, you get the abatement for the verified amount that somebody went and watched you fill your pool, and it's not a billing period cycle thing. It's not an abatement because you had a leak. It's, you use this water.
I think in a different section, it does state that it can go back to 2 billing cycles for the pool, that you can request.
I
it
don't
for 2
have
billing
that in
cycles.
the
Yeah.
code.
Yeah, not in
section.
this
Number
one.
5. Special message.
I don't know what that is, the special message paper. I didn't understand that.
Oh, well, that's for the leak.
That's,
Yeah, she was talking about.
section
the
A
sewer
is for
portion.
leak, section B is for pools.
Yeah. But there's another section somewhere that talks about that in the town code. I can forward that to you.
I don't know if we should ever go back 2 million cycles for anything. I mean, that seems crazy.
That's half a year.
Yeah.
I'll send you the code that I've got. 'cause
Okay, this is the one that we said we were discussing today,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's why.
Yeah, they just, yeah, that's fine.
I'm just thinking like even budgetary purposes and stuff like that.
I'm good.
For his finances.
Are we good?
Yeah,
All right, can we talk about the 5-day cutting the water off, or is that not on the agenda?
it's not on the agenda, and you know what? I've already got that to bring forth at the next workshop, just so you know.
Temple. For occupancy permits.
Okay, so this came forward when Jamie and I sat down and talked, and there was a question about going out and inspecting homes when they're being sold to make sure that they're up to code. So they can come in here and get a permit, and Jamie goes out and inspects them, to make sure that they're right. She was utilizing that if somebody had a home inspection by a licensed home inspection, she was taking that report and utilizing it instead of her going out, but it's not in our code. So that's what this does, it adds it to our code so that that can be utilized.
It allows us to accept that person's
Correct.
inspection.
Correct.
Does anybody have a problem with
As long as it's a licensed.
that? As long as they're licensed.
Correct.
All right, well, when we get it, if we're gonna actually bring it in section 5.2, many moons ago, when a property owner had tenant property, every time they changed tenants, it had to be inspected by the
Correct.
town to make sure it was occupancy. And then they do an annual inspection on all tenant properties as they used to. What are we doing if the property owner fails to notify us of a tenant change? And we learn about it.
That happens a lot, and it's
I know
hard
it
to.
does, and it's hard to enforce.
It's hard for us to know when there's a new tenant because the water bill, the utility bill is in the
Goes to
owner's
their
name.
name.
So we don't know when they're changing hands, unfortunately.
G2 just did a lot of work.
It's just,
G2 just did a lot of work.
So
to
this-
change tenants.
this has come up multiple times, and it's difficult to enforce, to know.
So, but I guess what Pete is asking, should we find out, and we can prove that they've done that, can we find them? Is there a violation or a charge we can charge them?
It says it's unlawful, and but in this section, there isn't really, well, actually, I didn't print out the violations and penalties. I'll have to look that up. The violations and penalties section should say, like, this is unlawful in that it is a municipal infraction, and then we go back to section 111 that tells us what the fines are for
Well,
municipal.
we need to find out what they.
Because I know 116 Maple Avenue, guy who owns Walker's, rented that house after all those people moved out. I don't know if it ever got a rental inspection.
For a building permit
Yeah, because he had work done on the inside.
and outside.
Yeah.
And a porch
That's-
put out front. When Tim and Roxanne were coming in here every month talking about the walls falling through and there was black mold in there.
Right.
I don't know, how can we legally, get into these houses to look to see?
If it's tenant property, we can.
If the person needs to have a use and occupancy permit, and the town is the one either accepting a home inspection permit or doing the use and occupancy permit review, then you're saying,
Well, what we're saying is we don't, they're doing it, we don't know about it. And-
Correct. Like if you moved out of your house and you rented it but didn't tell the town that you were living in it, that you were renting it, who's going to know that you had renters in there? I mean, the neighbors probably go, oh, well, yeah, but they're not going to call town hall and go, well, we got new neighbors and we don't, they're just accepting the fact that somebody rented it.
How many families?
Yeah,
So
and how
you-
many families are living in it?
It's hard for us to.
I
so
mean-
it says it's unlawful to not notify the town. Yes, I get that it just says it's unlawful. I was gonna go back and look at what the violations are, so that you can fine them if you find out, when you find out. And then in your water meter edits that you're interested in, I think that addresses some way of finding out, because it says anytime an occupancy, one of the suggested changes is anytime the resident turns over, you have to change out the water meter. that right, Cindy?
They
Is that what
have
I'm
not
reading?
changed out the water meter, but changed the account.
Change the account, so that's how you might be triggered to know that there's somebody new here and they didn't get this use and occupancy permit.
Well, what happens is, the people that own rental properties, I own the house, so the water meter is in my name.
Well, and
So I move people in and out there and never,
And these edits, I think, are trying to address that on the water meter side.
Is that, you're talking about the water meter that I'm talking about, the next one?
Yeah, I'm not trying to jump ahead, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to link the
Yes.
two
what,
and to say.
what I'm trying to get out of you is what legal avenues could we pursue to find out that the ownership or the tenancy has changed? Could we go knock on the door and say, I'd like to see who lives, can I ask
I
who
can
lives
find
here?
that out, I can work on that. I
You
don't
know-
have
you
an
know what
answer
I'm
right
saying?
now, but yeah.
There has to be a way for us to, if our neighbor says, so-and-so moved in new people over, we're like, man, we don't got no permit, how do we go back verifying that? You know what I'm saying? Because it happens a lot.
I have a question, this is a little off topic, but about the rental in general. Is there any way we could set a limit on how many rental permits are issued per year?
I don't have an answer to that, my gut is no, but.
Yeah, because if it's a private residence, you can't stop, just like you, if you decide you're gonna move out, you could rent your house to whoever, you don't have to notify
I
them.
want to say that there have been some other municipalities talk about limiting them, and to say, in other words, we're only going to allow 48% of our residential, properties to be used as a rental, so we're only going to put out X amount of licenses.
I feel like that would be
That may
something
be
to
a way to
look into.
manage it, you just couldn't probably say,
I know years
only
ago.
Kim can
old
only have
houses-
9, Joe can only have 27.
I just know years ago when the old houses were being sold and they were chopping them up and making apartments, that the town put a moratorium on it.
Yeah,
It
I
said
mean,
no-
you-
said no-
there are some avenues of control, but that's a question maybe that you can find out for us or through MML. All right.
Is there a letter that could be drafted to the property owners?
I mean, they
sorry.
have to have a license every year, right? Every year they have to renew, and so every year you could ask them, please confirm who you.
Is it every year or
Your
every 2
tenant.
years?
Every
It's every
year.
2 years.
It is
2 years.
Every 2 years.
2 years currently.
So they
Well,
can
that's-
move people in and out every 6 months.
Used to be every time we
Every
wanted to
2
change,
years.
and they did away
But
with
that is one way to possibly capture some.
I mean, we could go back to 1 year. It was 1 year, but they changed it because they,
It's a
I
lot of
think they
work.
felt like that it was
Takes
a
about
lot
6
of work
months.
to be done.
Because see, we had MDIA was doing some of them, but then they refused to do it because it was at a cost. So then Jamie and Brandon were having to go around and do it because Jamie got uncomfortable with going in some of these houses without a mail. So I was taking 2 of our employees going around and checking.
It takes 6 months to
Well,
get through
just
it all.
because the rental contract or the permit is good for 2 years doesn't mean you couldn't call at a year rate and verify the tenants haven't changed.
We've got a lot of rental properties.
Well, that's what I'm saying, how do we?
70% of the people who live in town are rentals now.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So other than the questions that you've asked me to research, like what's our carrot and stick here for finding out who's changed tendency? Is the rest of the language something that's mostly acceptable to the mayor and council, so I can put it in an ordinance format for you to introduce next time?
I didn't see any issues.
Yeah, I don't think.
I found 2 typos, but I can fix those and they're not a big deal.
They want her to stay?
it. No,
No.
okay.
Kim? Goodbye.
No, I think that's
All right. Okay. Water meters. Our favorite one.
Favorite one. So this deals with the multi-units, housing that are here that have 1 meter. And actually in this section, it's section 19-15, multiple billings, and then it's also under section 1921H, and it talks about structures having more than 1 dwelling unit or multiple non-residential users shall have a separate meter for each unit. The number and location of the meters and the design of the water service system is subject to approval of the town. So currently we've got apartment complexes that only have 1 meter, and it's difficult to break that out. We have to do the billing differently. So if they've got 2 apartments in there and 1 meter, you're splitting the bill between those 2 apartments. And this says they have to have a meter there, but we've never enforced it. 1915, multiple billing, when a structure contains multiple units is connected to the town water system, each residential dwelling unit shall be considered a separate service regardless of the number of physical connections to the water and sewer main serving the structure. And 2 or more structures owned by the same party connected to the town water, through the town system, the water and sewer bills are such structures may not be combined into a single bill. And
So, okay, I get that, but how do we go about, well, let's take across the street. You got upstairs and you got a downstairs apartment. How do we go back to that homeowner and say, you need to pay for a separate meter, tear up the street, all of that, whatever the cost is gonna be, and go back and make them pay for all this, since it's been let go for, what, 50 years, 40 years, 30 years?
Lindsay
whatever?
drafted an ordinance to say just that.
Right.
I think she
Said every
just sent
time
it
there was a
yesterday.
Tenant
So,
change,
they got it.
every time there was a
See
tenant
there,
change.
but then here we go with tenant changes, who's
Well,
letting us
that's why I
know?
was linking the two, like maybe there's a
And
way.
the one that I
Oh,
saw,
we'll know at least every 2 years
yeah,
when we do the inspection.
it says every time there's a tenant change, structural repairs made to the unit or anything like that, you have to add
Or you
extra
sell it and someone else
You have
buys
to sell it,
it
somebody else buys it. yeah.
to do a different use, yeah.
I mean, that's the only way we're gonna catch up, we're never gonna catch up with it, but at least it's gonna make some people accountable for,
Well, we know who they are.
well,
I mean,
right.
we don't know maybe every, but we know that the units that are out there that have 1 meter going to them.
But I guarantee you they're using over 12,000 gallons
Yes.
of water. So they're paying the extra for the water, so
Correct.
it's not like it's really, I mean, you see what I'm saying? If you
do.
put 2 meters and they're only using 6,000 gallons, you're not getting any extra money out of them really, technically. But when
But
they're,
you're finding out that someone's not registered a
Correct.
tenant, and then
Correct.
you can get, yeah.
Right.
That's where the two,
So if there's
Might help
3
each other.
apartments, can you put 3 meters in one pit? Just a bigger pit?
Well,
or you have to dig 3 separate
You,
pits.
you could probably have to do 2 bids, because most of them are single
Right.
or.
Because I mean, from the meter into the house is probably a single line, but somewhere in that house, they split off for those various apartments.
So, in order to move this along, we have kicked this can down the road forever and a day, and we have been told in the past we couldn't do this, now we've been told that we can. I absolutely think that we need to.
Yes.
How we go about doing it might be a horse of a different color, but we need to start doing this, and you know, a couple of questions that I had today when I was talking to Cindy about it is, so if we got a house, and there's only one in there, there are 2 apartments in there, but there's only 1 meter. You know, do we need to require that for them to pay any additional fees? In other words, if they're getting a new hookup system, is it the same as if I build a new house? Do we charge them the same fees, or is it just a case of, as Brandon said, where the water's already going in there, that EDU's already been allocated, we're just splitting it off, and the water's going out. And so I just want to make sure that we knew how to handle that when it came to that point, so we know what to charge them. So there isn't an additional charge from us for the allocation of the water. It's just that they have to get the meter from us, pay for the meter, and pay the plumber to do whatever's got to be done to show us that it's been done, and then we send them 2 separate bills. Because the problem we've been having is with all these people is that these girls run into all the time is where a landlord, you know, gets the bill, and then one person's supposed to pay, they're both supposed to pay, Department A pays, but B don't pay. So now we're left with trying to cut the water off for both of them, and it's not fair to A because B didn't pay, and the owner didn't pay, and so we're just trying to get rid of all of that and make
Why are we
it
gonna
fair.
charge it for the meter? I didn't pay for my meter.
I don't think it's charged for the meter, it's for
it
the
says the
installation.
water meter
We don't
must be
charge them a meter, but
separately
they gotta buy a meter.
installed by the property owner.
I guess.
It does not say that the
I might have misspoke.
So you all have the draft ordinance language then?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
got it
right?
in my email, yeah.
2604, yeah.
You've had a
Yeah.
copy.
We might not charge them for the meter, Pete, I could be
Yeah.
wrong. I know we have to put a meter in
I
there.
know we have to put a meter in.
It doesn't say that the property owner has to
I don't know why
pay
we-
for it, it just says they have
We had to figure, we had
Have
to
it
find out what we
installed.
did, because when I set up here before, Granby Street, and Granby had meters in all those apartments up there.
Yeah.
This started years ago, we just never stayed on it.
Well, there's gotta be some type of fee. I would think.
I mean, you're gonna recoup your money, because
installing.
now it's gonna be minimums for everybody.
I agree, there needs to be an installation fee, but.
I don't have a
there's
problem with
not one.
installation fee, but they don't have to buy the meter, because.
I just
No,
think we ought to
no.
come up with an
Look,
installation
so there's
fee.
already an EDU assigned to that house.
Yeah.
So if you take my mom's house and you make it 3 apartments now, we just need to add 2 more meters. That's not the property owner's fault. That's our fault from years ago whenever they did this. When they allowed them to make it an apartment, they should have specified you gotta have a meter for each apartment. But nobody did, so now we're kinda eating crow.
Well, it's in here, it just wasn't enforced.
But we just need to have the meter pit enhanced for the 3 meters that we provide.
But it's still a cost.
Yeah, we provide the meters though.
But it
It's our billing
says
system.
the water
And-
meters must be separately installed by the property owner. We could add at the property owner's cost for installation.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to split the
And
lines.
it needs to include there that they need to use water meters provided by the town. They can't go ahead and buy some other
Can't
brand
go
of water
And-
meter.
Well, same with the water meter pits, because there's
Well, we need to
10
do
different
that.
pits.
No, basically, you guys put the meter in, and they just gotta run the water from the structure to the pit.
Right, I was just saying, whatever the pit costs,
Yeah.
and a little bit of time, that's what you charge them. If it's $500, it's $500,
So
whatever it may be.
The work that the town would be, or the things
So the town would hook up from
the town provides the water
main.
meters and the pit.
The main.
Correct.
from the
Main
main to the pit.
to the pit.
Correct.
So the homeowner is responsible from the
Pit
pit to the house.
Correct.
Do they put in the pit or you put in the pit?
We put in the pit.
We put in the pit.
Yeah.
It's our pit.
Because we want to make sure that it's in correctly.
Correct.
Yeah, it's our pit, yeah.
It's our pit.
Okay, if you get that homeowner and they screw something up.
They run the
and it
pipes
leaks,
to the pit.
then
They
we
can
gotta
take a
check.
hole and just bury the meter and do crap, you know
So
what I'm
the
saying?
owner would be responsible for installation from the pit
Pit
to
to
the
the house.
individual
Unit.
unit.
Correct.
Okay.
And inside the pit, Brandon, you gotta label them. A,
A,
B,
B,
C,
C.
or 1, 2, 3, however the apartments are. Inside the pit, not
So
outside.
that you can.
That way they can't tamper with the water to shut it off.
So I can modify this and bring it, and send all this stuff to you all for introduction next week.
And we need to find out, again, and this is another thing, if they don't follow through with it, what do we charge them with? What's the
Right,
fine?
in here, this additional language says the municipal violation, so it would be the standard municipal infraction, $100 every day, $200, same thing. But you could specify, you can
Well,
always
we need to look at
specify
that because I think that one should be a more stiffer fine.
30 days in jail.
Well, I don't know about going to jail, but it
I
ought
think
to be,
he would be
it ought to be,
okay.
I'm fine with it. It ought to be at least $500.
That was what the other one was,
Right, nobody goes
sidewalks,
to jail
500.
anymore, shit. they
So if you want me to change that to make it specific, a specific penalty for this violation.
Yeah, we need to add that to the fine.
Oh,
There's a lot.
Instead of saying jail, just
I don't,
put
I
3
don't
hots
think
in a cot.
it's good to say every day, that they get fined every day $100,
We're changing.
Or every time.
or every, or
Well,
something.
you're changing the property
Well,
maintenance
change-
code to every 5. You're not
change it to
changing
every
your overall municipal infraction language unless you also are asking us to do that too.
We just need to bring that fine schedule thing and all that in for a workshop. We can do
I will do that.
So that's section 111 of the code, and that is where it says, if, unless otherwise specified in a part of the code, this is how we assess the fines, and these are the fines that we're assessing.
Fran, one thing I did want to ask, I know when they did tenements, all those houses have to have a sprinkler system, correct?
Correct.
Are they run off the separate line, or are they off the meter? Because if they're shut, I
No,
see in here where,
No, so all of them have a key prior to the meter pit.
correct.
And then it goes.
So when you turn the water off, if there was still the sprinkler, because in this thing, it says that we're not liable for any damage if there was a fire if we turn the water
Yeah,
off.
if somebody doesn't pay, their sprinkler system's still active.
That's what I wanted to make sure, because I know we discussed that in the meeting, that they had to run a separate line for the sprinkler system. I just wanted to make sure that had gotten done.
Okay, good deal. Is there anything else that anybody else needs to say about the things that we talked about tonight? If not, then I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're out of here. 7:49. Wasn't bad, thank you. Good job. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, man. We would have been lost without you.
All good.
Kenny?
Oh, I thought he'd come tonight. We'll bring that back. Don't worry now. Usually does, so.
Ladies, drive carefully on the way home.
Okay.
I said for the podium.
I'll maintain that.
Do we have any more?
Please, anybody-
Well, we got 2 of them right now, don't we?